if you're seeing this as a recording. Thank you for watching this. I'm going to give it a quick second just because I know it takes a little extra time to type out the ID number and password and stuff like that. So I'm thinking by 7:44, everybody should be here, or everybody who wants to come back should be here. So. Let me think. So, is there anything that you guys wanted to talk about? It can be really old, it can be really new. I don't mind because now is the time to ask. I mean, I would rather you guys kind of ask questions about past material now than cramming it all at the last second. Because me and Dr. B are only human. We can only explain so much in such little time. Because if you're asking a question, there might be another student with the same exact question. And I would give you the same answer as the other student, but it'll take twice the time for me to be able to answer that question. Does that make sense? Like, so if you have any questions, we can go over it now. And yeah, so like, are we good on, let's see, colony morphology? Oh, can we talk about the difference between the cell wall and producing a positive and negative stain? Yes, of course we can. That is why I am here. So let me go ahead and open up that part. So this is going to be one of those things that it's going to be, we do it in lab, but it also applies to lecture. So it's one of those things that is going to be tied to each other. So let me go ahead and open up the picture. I think it's this one. I hope it's this one. I really hope it's this one. Okay, I will start here. So, let me go ahead and share my screen. So, for the gram-positive, it's going to be because it has more peptidoglycan. So let me kind of walk you through what's going on with cell walls. So obviously we know that it maintains its shape, it protects itself from rupturing, because it's kind of like our skin, right? If we didn't have our skin, we would just be sacks, right? We would like our meat would fall off our bones. So we don't want our cells' meat to fall out of its bones, I guess. If that's a good analogy. But the cell wall doesn't regulate what comes in and out of the cell. Remember, that's going to be the membrane. Always think of the semi-permeable membrane. That's not the cell wall. The wall is simply structural, right? And depending on what type of cell wall it has, it can increase its virulence. And also depending on the makeup of the cell wall, right? We can target it with certain antibiotics. So I'll come back to both of those factors in just 1 second. So for the cell wall, I think it's better for you guys, instead of to read this, to see, hold on, this. So this is the big idea, right? We're going to have some major components, right? In gram-positive, we're going to have a peptidoglycan, teichoic acid, and a peripassic space, but no outer membrane. That's the those are the 4 components that are going to be found in either gram-positive, gram-negative. So the outer membrane is missing for the gram-positive, right? We have thick peptidoglycan, we have teichoic acids, no outer membrane, and no periplasmic space. Those are the 2 things it has, 2 things it doesn't. Sorry about that. Then think about the gram-negative, right? It has a thin peptidoglycan, so we can kind of keep that. We can keep the finger, but it has no teichoic acids. It does have an outer membrane though, and a periplasmic space. Okay, so with all of this taken into consideration, right? I don't know if you want to think about it piece or this, I don't know, but I'm just trying to show you guys that it can have 4 components. This is what gram-positive has, and this is what gram-negative has. So if it helps you guys to draw this out, here, I'll draw it off. Let me simply swap my sharing. Yes, I'm going to use MS Paint. Don't judge me. I think it's better than whiteboard apps, but I digress. So let's write. Oh, well, let me, okay. Forgive my awful probably drawing skills on here. I know people can make masterpieces on this thing. I don't know how, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. Okay, so gram-positive. So remember, how is gram-positive going to state? Positive, purple, right? So we have our gram-positive over here, which means that it's going to have our thick peptidoglycan. I'm gonna try to, I can't, can I? Yes, ha ha ha. I wanna make different colors. So we have our thick, oh, it's still black. Okay, well, I give up. Thick peptidoglycan, right? This is our thick peptidoglycan. And what do we have on here? Teichoic acids, yummy, right? It's gonna just be around here. Just know that it has them. So we have our thick peptidoglycan, teichoic acid. It has no outer membrane. Remember, no outer membrane. So this is the outermost part of it, and it has no periplasmic space. So, but it does have remember, this is our semi-permeable cell membrane. This is going to be on the inside. It's going to be so hard. Oh wait, I have a touchscreen. What am I doing? Ha! I'm so smart. Why am I trying to use my mouse when I can go a lot faster? Yeah. I forgot my computer's touchscreen. Okay. We have labs, right? So remember, out of the 4 components this thing can have, it has a peptidoglycan layer. We have the teichoic acids, but we don't have an outer membrane and we don't have a periplasmic space, right? I wish I want to fill that, but it's going to take effort. And you guys might know, but I had my lab today and it was absolutely dreadful. I have a 9-hour lab, just so you guys know. It's for a CNA course, but I digress. I have had a lot of caffeine and I can make it through. Okay, so now we're gonna shift to gram-negative. So gram-negative, remember, it has a thin peptidoglycan layer, but no teichoic acids. and it has an outer membrane, and it has a periplasmic space. So if we were going to draw this out, I can do it with my finger. Right? This is the lazy way to draw. Remember, these are our phospholipids. So that's going to be our outer membrane, right? And then we have our peptidoglycan there. No teichoic acids. And then we have this space right here. That's our periplasmic. And then we have another one, just like the gram positive, we have our, our other cell membrane, and this is semi-permeable. So this is how the difference is, right? Gram positive, lot of peptidoglycan. It has teichoic acids, but it doesn't have an outer membrane or periplasmic space. Gram negative does have an outer membrane, has a thin peptidoglycan, and has a periplasmic space, but no teichoic acids. So those are the main differences structurally. If you guys want to take a picture of this, I don't mind. But this is, I know that other picture can be a little more confusing. It looks like one has a space when it shouldn't. Yeah, no problem. So, if you want to redraw things in your own way, do it. It helps you commit it to memory. But I'm gonna, if you take your pictures now, there will be a recording too if you really want to skip through it. Do you think next week, as we get closer to the exam, we can go over the practice exam and you sent in the write-up together? Yes, of course we can. I was even thinking about doing some tomorrow, at least maybe one that's shorter. If you guys have the time to, tonight, I know it's kind of late already, but we can go over a shorter one tomorrow, or I can kind of save it for Monday, whatever you guys would like. But I was planning on doing it. I just wanted to get them out there for you guys so you had them for over the weekend. Good, or Monday, whatever's best. Yeah, we can do whichever one. We can do both. I mean, I sent out 3 different things, so those are all Caesar's, by the way. He's godsend. So that was some of the stuff that I used last semester. So this is our gram positive versus gram negative. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing this and go back to the lecture material, right? Whoa, whoa. Why does it look like this? Sorry, I don't know what's happening. Okay, it's better now. So I will try to show you guys a video. I hope it will connect to audio. But I was told by Dr. B that I had a couple people ask me, how much do we need to know about the peptidoglycan? Because this is a big word and it looks super sciencey. What do I need to know? All you need to know is that it's alternating NAG-NAM. It has the tetrapeptide, a peptide bond crosslink, and another tetrapeptide. Try to say that 5 times fast. And also remember that the NAG-NAM are derivatives of glucose. Look at their structures, right? They are similar to glucose. They have similar structure to glucose. Let me see. And yes, thick peptidoglycan and gram positive. We just went over this. Let's see. So, okay. I almost skipped past it. So we have lipopolysaccharide. So this is going to be found in the outer membrane. Who has an outer membrane? What bacteria type?
The gram negative?
Yes, gram negative has the has the outer membrane. So they also have LPS, or lipopolysaccharide. So what happens is when the cell wall, because when a bacteria is living all happy, the lipopolysaccharides in its outer membrane, and it's just chilling. But as soon as it dies, and as soon as that outer membrane is no longer functioning, it lyses, it goes into your body. Let's say you had an infection and the bacteria start to die, the outer membrane opens up and that LPS is released. It becomes an endotoxin. So that endotoxin, okay, I had to check. Sorry. Yeah, no problem. Leave if you guys need to. It's okay. I know we're kind of getting close on time, but remember, I always post the recordings. So that endotoxin is going to make us sick. So even though the bacterial infection caused us to cause us to have a fever, our body's trying to kill the bacteria, but in part of killing the bacteria, it's releasing this endotoxin, which is making us feel worse, because look at what happens, right? Our gram-negative bacteria die and release this LPS into our bloodstream, and then we have blood vessels dilate and a dramatic drop in blood pressure. What do we call that? It's the 5-letter word. I had to count it. What's this 5-letter word that happens when our blood vessels dilate and our blood pressure tanks?
Is it toxic shock?
So it's not toxic shock, but it is shock.
Okay.
I know toxic shock syndrome is where, is what I think of, but it's just shock.
Okay.
Because to kind of like clarify that, toxic shock is what happens when, like obviously, off like a foreign body or something, and it stays there for too long, and our blood vessels dilate, and we have a dramatic drop in blood pressure. That's just shock in general. And you can add prefixes to that to change where it derives from. But for the sake of LPS, it causes shock. So all of a sudden we see these symptoms of low blood pressure and shock, and we're like, oh my God, this bacteria, it's creating an even larger infection. But what's actually happening is the bacteria is starting to die and release this endotoxin, and it's going to make us appear sicker, as if the infection's getting worse when the infection's actually lightening up. So what are the doctors going to think if the infection's getting worse? Let's pump those antibiotics. I want to kill this bacteria because it's obviously taking over. So when we give more antibiotics, we're killing more and more and more. So if the bacteria dying was what's causing this shock, killing even more is going to cause it to release a slew of LPS and a slew of this endotoxin, right? So we're going to continue to do this, and the patient's going to get worse, and we're like, what's happening? Why is this happening? And eventually, if we continue this cycle, it could be fatal. So it's very dangerous. And you'll come to learn that E. coli is a gram-negative bacteria, and it does have this LPS. So, when we have an E. coli infection, we have to tread lightly, and it's not something that we can take lightly either. So
how would a doctor know if what you have is a gram-negative bacteria?
Usually they'll call for a culture, like a wound culture, if it's like a bacteria. Sometimes they'll do urinalysis. They'll do different diagnostic tests, but sometimes those take too long, and sometimes they are very quick. But usually if your window of time is like, okay, this is a pretty early infection, they'll try to do a wound culture, figure it out, because you'll learn very far in the future that antibiotics can target specific things in the cells, right? So we talked about the differences between gram-positive and gram-negative. Certain antibiotics are more effective against gram-positive versus gram-negative. So if we do a culture, find out it's gram-negative, okay, we can use this antibiotic and it's super effective against this gram-negative bacteria, right? and it might even combat this endotoxin. So great. But if we don't have that time, if our patient is in critical condition, and if they have a, if they are showing signs of like sepsis, for example, if they are, they have septicemia, they have, bacteria in their blood, it's an infection that's spreading, and we know it's in the latent stages, we're like, okay, we need to just give them something that's going to kill whatever they have. So that's when we give them a broad spectrum antibiotic that can kill both gram-positive and gram-negative. The thing is, those antibiotics are a little more toxic to us. So usually they'll target something that both of them have. And that might just be ribosomes. Remember, our cells have ribosomes, and so do theirs. So when it targets something like that, it can cause us to get ill as well. So it's really going to depend on the situation, on what a doctor is going to do. Again, I'm not even a doctor. I could just tell you what, from the science end, could happen. So usually that we'll try to find a antibiotic that is effective in against killing the bacteria. But we can only give so much of an antibiotic. That's why, dosage always changes. So like, you might have a higher dose of penicillin than you would, vancomycin. If you don't know what those two things are, you will eventually. But penicillin, I'm sure you've at least heard of it. It's a very, it's a very docile type thing. It's not the big guns. Vancomycin is the big guns. So we give more penicillin than we would vancomycin. And it usually takes more penicillin to start killing than vancomycin. So you'll learn about that later. I know these are big words, but I'm trying to kind of show you guys an example of there are a lot of different things that can happen, a lot of different situations. And for right now, all you need to know is that this is what happens with gram-negative and LPS. And you just need to know that it could be potentially fatal with this endotoxin. And that's if we go back up here, that's why it says that it's clinically relevant because of the virulence and of the antibiotics that we can give. I wanted to tie that back, and then I got a little too deep because I'm sorry, I need to pump the brakes sometimes because, I'm gonna be honest, so the antibiotics, and although they were a pain, they were some of my favorite. And I really enjoyed it. So if I need to pump the brakes and I'm saying a lot of words that you guys don't know and I'm just confusing you, tell me to stop. But I hope that explanation helped. I'm trying to see ahead. Yeah, I'm not going to dive too deep, but that's the basic difference between gram-positive and gram-negative. And again, the gram stain is going to be our big friend in trying to differentiate those two things. And, a doctor may or may not do a gram stain. It could be diagnostic. It just depends. So, yeah, is there any other questions that we have about gram-positive versus gram-negative? I still have that drawing if you need it. Is there anything about gram stain that you guys are confused about? You guys are actually going to, Tuesday, Thursday, you guys are actually going to do it tomorrow. And you'll get a little bit better of a preface, and you'll be able to see the instructions in front of you and follow along again tomorrow. And then I will search for that video to the ends of the earth if I have to, about how the gram stain actually works. And if she doesn't show it in class, I will show it to you. Because you guys will need to know some of those things that I remember in the video. But yeah, if there are any questions, unmute yourself if you want, type it if you want. If you don't feel comfortable, saying it out loud, you can do a unanimous one and just send it directly to me. Anything with microscopes, technique for streaking. Yeah, how did your guys' streaking for isolation go? I know I saw Mondays, but I didn't say Tuesdays. How did that go for everybody? Were you guys able to see some nice isolated colonies? Yeah, no problem. Have a good one. But how were your guys' isolated colonies? No shame if it didn't work out. I promise you that. Mine didn't work out at the beginning either. It's okay. Yours worked out good, Melissa?
Yeah, I thought it came out good. I was able to get to different colonies.
Good. Well, that's good. I'll ask you guys this question. So let's say, because it might be an exam question, or it might be a lab question, or it might be something she asked in class. I don't know, but let's all make a hypothetical. Yeah, good. Okay. But let's test our knowledge here. So let's say I have my plate, right? I'm gonna pretend like I'm in lab and I'm streaking, right? So, oh hey, how was your weekend? Good. Yeah, did you see that new TikTok that whoever posted? Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. So what did I do wrong? I know that was kind of rushed, but what do you guys think I did wrong?
We contaminated everything.
Yeah, I did a terrible isolation job. What specifically did I do?
The talking, as well as the technique, holding the plate.
So
streaking.
The streaking. So what did I not do in between quadrants?
You didn't put the I forgot the name of it, that one, in the burner.
Yes. So I didn't take my loop and put it into the incinerator. That's good. I know. Yeah. Hey, well, that was terrible. The thing is, I've seen people do that. It happens. People do it all the time. I've also seen this. Let's say this is my lab table. I've seen people open up their plate, streak it, and set it down. And then go write something in their notebook and then pick it up and do another streak and set it down. I've seen that happen too. So if you guys are not doing that, then great. You guys are in the right step. You're in the right direction. So if you guys got plenty of isolated colonies, you did it right. So let's see. So streaking you're good on. Microscopes we talked about. And I think you got everybody who's here now was there. If you guys need to go, let me know. If you guys want to end it now, we can. Because I don't think you guys need much more. What do you guys think? Is there any specific questions that I can answer for you guys? I'll stop sharing.
I think I'm okay for now.
Okay. Yeah, we can. I'll stop it here, and you guys can. I don't know if you ate dinner yet, but you guys have been sitting still for at least another half hour. So thank you guys for coming. I hope to see you guys tomorrow morning, 11:30. I'll send out a little remind, maybe like 9:30, probably. So yeah, and I'll try to post these recordings tonight. Sometimes they don't like to upload to my computer. So I'll try to post these tonight. I know the Monday ones just barely got done. So you guys are free to go. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.